Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Yellowjackets Hive, presented by cordcutting.com. I am Media Melanie, here with...
And I'm Emily.
And today we are back with another exclusive episode, this time on the possibility of additional adult survivors and who we would cast if given the opportunity. So hopefully we're going to see some more survivors, of course, now that we lost adult Nat. Emily, Who would you want to see the most in the present day timeline? Jen, Melissa, Akilah, and potentially Coach Ben.
I know it's a long shot, but I would love to see Coach Ben. I've imagined him, like, what he would be like in the present day, like, so many times. And I always go back to, like, him being bitter man, like Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. Like,
that's a good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I envision when I envision him in the present day.
Definitely. And we've talked at length about this. We think that instead of casting somebody different for a present day Coach Ben, we surmise if he does survive, they would probably use aging prosthetics and they would not recast him. I think that would make more sense than a much older person. I think they could easily get away with aging prosthetics.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know this is one of your favorite shows. Look at what they did with Mandy Moore and This Is Us. Like, they did such a fantastic job with that. And it was so believable that I definitely feel like they could easily do that with Yellowjackets and with Coach.
We posed this question on Twitter and we got some replies. So let's highlight some of the fan picks. For adult Mari, Lou the Dude wanted Elizabeth Rodriguez. For Melissa, Annalie Ashford. And for Akilah, Samira Wiley, which I think are all really good choices. Those are all some believable picks.
Annalie Ashford is a really good option for Melissa. Like,
she is.
And she was so good in Welcome to Chippendales too.
Welcome to Chippendales was on Hulu. We both watched that. We also had Brittany Durr, who suggested Clea Duvall, of course, right there. Akilah, Gabrielle Union. Let me pull her photo up right there. We also had Julia Stiles for Melissa, which I think is definitely a possibility. Julia Stiles has a very similar look. And Mari, Shannon Sossaman. I definitely think that could be an option as well.
Clea Duvall, that picture that you just showed of her, like, I could really see that now that somebody pointed that out. Like, that would be a great option for Jen.
Definitely. And we should mention, Maya Lowe, the actress that plays Jen, of course, has Asian heritage. So it would be nice to be able to cast an Asian actress, but that may not necessarily always happen. So yeah, I do think there's a definite similarity there. And we also had Ash, HC Wrights on Twitter, go for Lena Perilla. For Mari, Brandy for Akilah, which I think is that could definitely work. Jen, Lillian Bowden, who I have that photo right there. She might look a little young, I feel like, if we're going for the 40s. But the JV, of course, is a little bit younger than the varsity. But Melissa, Malin Ackerman. So those were some of the
good one.
That is a good one. And additional fan picks, our friend Jolie also had agreed about Clea Duvall, Akilah, Sherry Sum, Melissa, Reese Witherspoon, who, of course, I could definitely see that as well.
Yeah.
And Mari, Karina Lombard, which I could see that. I could maybe see that. Alyssa, Nine Brick City, love Alyssa, one of our patrons, suggested Nev Campbell or Lillian Bowden. Nev Campbell is definitely one that, has the same type of look here. Again, maybe not the same heritage, but facial structure wise, look wise, I mean, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
She's a 90s queen.
She is a 90s queen, literally. I mean, that would be amazing. Alyssa also suggested a Kate Winslet for Melissa. Again, probably couldn't afford her. We've heard that comment. We'll play a clip in a minute. And then we have more Gabrielle Union. We have a suggestion for Mari of Shannon Doherty, of course, from the collection of 90s actresses. Unfortunately, Shannon Doherty is not in great health right now. I don't know what happened. She was so good as Brenda Walsh, 90210 for forever, of course. So yeah, there's some good options there. But before we check in with some more photos and side by sides, why don't we play a clip of Milo and Jenna Burgess actually saying who they would want to play themselves?
I honestly try never to like think about that, just because Cameron Diaz. I've gotten Cameron Diaz before, and it's funny as like a young actress, an actor, like you play like you constantly go out for auditions of like younger version of other people. They'll be like every TV show in town has like will cast for like flashbacks, and so someone threw out Kate Winslet, and we all know that's not gonna happen.
That's a good one.
But I think like as like an actor in general, that would be someone I'd love to play a younger version of. So yeah.
Also, I found the person, Gemma Chan. She was on Crazy Rich Asians, and I love her. I love her as an actress. So
she's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we'll manifest both of your, potential adult choices. That would be fantastic. And let's hope that you both make it out of the wilderness. It sounds like we don't know yet about season 3, or maybe you girls know and, can't share.
We're lying.
We get it.
Yeah.
We get it. That was a lot of fun talking to them, and really cool kind of getting their take on who they would, want to play them. So I did put together a couple of side-by-sides. Kate Winslet was definitely mentioned. She may be expensive. I mean, she's a big movie star, but they did get Elijah Wood. So you never know. Cameron Diaz, definitely could see that. I feel that could be a really, 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 really strong fit. Love that. Yeah. And Emily, you had mentioned also Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, because she's another 90s girl. Like, Clueless is one of my absolute favorites. And I could see her playing on Yellowjackets, like, for sure.
That's right. And another one, Mina Suvari. I feel like
another good one.
She would be. There's a lot of definite good options there. And what's interesting about the character Melissa is someone had told us if you go back and you watch the rescue scene, you can hear one of the press actually calling out Melissa. So of course, doing our due diligence, Emily went back today, watched it with the captions, did not get a hint of any Melissas being called out in that 1998 rescue scene. So if you're out there and that's something that you noticed, please pull a clip, because we missed it. We did not hear that. That would be amazing if it was there and we knew we were getting adult Melissa. Then, let's get our casting choices out there, which is what we're
totally
doing.
Possible that it was said and it just wasn't picked up with the closed caption too, because there were multiple reporters like speaking at one time, and they weren't showing the captions for every reporter. They were only showing them for one person. So there is a chance that they could have said Melissa at some point. And there were some instances where like I thought maybe like they said something similar that could have sounded like Melissa, and those people might have just thought that like that's what they were saying. So it's definitely possible. I mean, anything is possible. I definitely heard them say Taissa, Misty, and Shauna for sure. They said those names. And I think they might have even said Natalie too. They don't say Lottie, even though we see Lottie. They don't say Lottie, which I found was interesting. But you see all of those other girls whose names they say as well. So, and I didn't see Melissa or Jen or Mari. Was there anybody else that we didn't see? I can't remember.
I feel like someone else said that Mari was under a hood and they caught a glimpse of her, but I didn't see a screenshot to back it up. So again, if you've got the screenshot, please let us know. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
So also, speaking to Maya Lowe's choice, Gemma Chan from Crazy Rich Asians, I think that would be a fantastic fit. I can definitely see the similarity. And I did not watch Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh,
but
it's so good. You have to watch it. It's so good.
Okay, I will add it to my list. And Maya also, of course, loved that show, as she mentioned, and picked Gemma Chan.
Movie.
Oh, it's a movie. Okay, I didn't see. I didn't even know. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it. I feel like I don't watch as many movies as I do TV shows for whatever reason. I'm just a big TV person. I love TV. What can I say? What can I say? Okay, so more casting options for adult Mari, Alexa Barajas. We have Natalia Cordova Buckley, who is from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I believe Black Panther as well, as the picture shows. So I could see that. There's definitely a similarity there. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Adina Porter for Nia Zendaya, for Akilah, adult Akilah, if she survives, who is probably my top pick, I would say.
She would be so good. Like, I loved her in American Horror Story.
Loved.
She was so good in that. And I just feel like her vibe would be great for Yellowjackets.
Absolutely. She's got the horror thing going. They've got a similar look. She's about the right age. So that is definitely a possibility, and another big name that we all love to see on the show. That would be fantastic.
For sure.
And another one for Nia Zendaya, Jennifer Hudson.
I can see that too.
It's definitely a possibility. Now, something I would like to see if adult Akilah does end up in the present day timeline is I'd like to see her as a surgeon. We know, yep, exactly, right? She sewed up Van's face, and let's face it, the healing is just incredible. So if we're talking professions here, I think Akilah could definitely be a trained surgeon, plastic surgeon even, perhaps.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be very fitting given what we've seen her do out in the wilderness. And I think that if Mari makes it, that she would be in charge of like a multi-level marketing pyramid.
Yes, I could see her selling some essential oils, maybe some leggings, or those like nail strip things that they have. The Color Street, I think it's called.
Yeah. 100%.
You're spot on. She would absolutely be an MLM queen. She'd be hitting you up on Facebook when you haven't, spoken with her since high school, and putting all the pressure on you to buy her wares. So that's a pretty heads up call. I like that. Now, as far as adult Melissa, I don't know what she would be. I don't know if we know her story enough yet to really sign a career for her.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yes. And, and Jen, we don't really know a lot about Jen either. So I don't know.
No, we don't. We only got like little glimpses of them. And I hope that next season we get more of them, because I thought that they were good additions. Like Jen had that moment with Coach Ben, like with the hallucination that we all thought was real, and we thought she had rabies. Like
rabies
we called her Rabies Girl. And she said that she thought that nickname was really funny.
She sure did. She talked all about it in our interview with Maya and Jenna. So check that out if you haven't already.
Yeah. So what do you think? Like, I've already said what I think Coach Ben would be like. What do you think Coach Ben would be like?
I love your assessment of Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump, because I do think there's got to be some kind of big, bitterness component. He lost a limb out there. He's witnessed these girls spiraling and losing humanity. So I can see him being like Negan on The Walking Dead. We were actually talking about Jeffrey Dean Morgan and how if they were going to cast a person, he could potentially be a good choice. I mean, he's probably a little bit young for it, but they could use prosthetics and age him. But just that attitude, I feel like before things went down on The Walking Dead, that Negan was probably a pretty decent guy. And then, we see Lucille, we see the Glenn death, all the things that happen in The Walking Dead that turn him into this angry, evil type of person. So I could also see Coach Ben kind of turning into, a villain, and maybe the type of villain, Emily, who mails people postcards from places saying, wish you were here. So speaking of other castings, we had, of course, speculated on who we would have wanted for adult Lottie and adult Van. Of course, we got Simone Kessel and Lauren Ambrose, who are both phenomenal. We both mentioned Lauren Ambrose for Van before, so that was in the realm. But Julia Stiles was another person that I kind of had in mind for Van, or potentially a Drew Barrymore, who's obviously very busy with her own show. But those were two that I had in mind and kind of projected. Yeah. What about you?
Julia Stiles was definitely my top choice for Van. I feel like even though Lauren Ambrose and Liv Houston resemble each other, I also can see similarities in Julia Stiles and Liv Houston too.
Yes.
They have very similar facial features. So that was definitely my top pick. And I know we both said for adult Lottie before we found out about Simone Kessel that we would have liked to see Shannon Sossman. And that was like what everybody was predicting. Everybody thought it was going to be her because cast members started following her on social media and like we were all speculating about it.
Yes, and we got a lot of casting announcements prior to season 2. And, there were actually a lot of fans out there that weren't happy about that. They didn't want to know that Van survived. They wanted to find out. But from the perspective of the cat out of the bag situation, I don't know how well they could have really kept that under wraps. I think they could have made it work, but I appreciate casting announcements. I like information. I don't love spoilers, but it's nice to have the information. It's fun to speculate, but it's really nice to get answers as well. So what I'm looking forward to are potential season 3 castings. I would love to know if any of these, Jen, Melissa, Akilah, Coach Ben, make it out, but I don't know if they would spoil it this time because then that gives us more fuel for who Pit Girl could potentially be. That would rule somebody out. So I'm curious how they're going to handle the casting announcements. Elijah Wood was a big one. I mean, they made some big casting announcements, so it's possible they could be announcing more. Of course, Juliette Lewis is gone, so it's time to bring in another big name to the present day timeline.
Yeah, maybe they won't even show another Survivor until like the very end of season 3 or season 4. Like they might make us wait a little while for that because given the fact that like they gave us 2 more this season, and even though we lost one, like they have to have some kind of like suspense to keep us like interested in watching, and that's something that would obviously people want to see. So I think there's a possibility that we might not get a new cast member like right away in season 3.
And that kind of makes sense because, of course, in the season 1 finale, that's when we got the news, who the fuck is Lottie Matthews, and knew we were going to get the adult Lottie. It wasn't until much later until they made the adult Van casting announcement. And of course, then they announced which cast they upgraded to series regulars versus just being a guest star or a recurring role. So I'm hopeful. I would love to see another casting announcement, but you know what? If we don't get it, that's okay. Even if it does come during the season, surprises are great. And in the meantime, we can all have fun speculating about who we'd want for each of these potentials.
Also, they just announced who they nominated, like put forth for the Emmys, and they nominated like
18
ton of people on the show. Like Warren Cole, Kevin Alves, who else? Steven Kruger, like all thrown in for Best Supporting Actor, which I'm so happy about. Like, I would love to see one of them nominated.
Yeah, I mean, with that volume of actors, hopefully that will increase the odds of actually getting the nom and then winning the award. I know the competition is always very stiff, but I hope it's a Yellowjackets Emmy season. I think we are all wanting that, especially after last season when they did not win some of those, especially the casting one, which let's face it, this show deserves the casting Emmy 100%.
Oh my gosh. Like they were robbed. They were flat out robbed.
Completely robbed. So now that we've shared our dream casting picks and some of the fans have thrown in theirs as well, we want to hear from all of you. Who would you want cast as adult Jen, adult Melissa, adult Akilah, and potentially an older Coach Ben? We want you to drop a comment right now and tell us who you want. Who do you got? Maybe we can gamify this somehow. We'll see. But we want to know what everyone thinks.
I have one last question for you. If she survived, who would you like to see cast as adult Jackie if she was still alive?
Oh, if she was still alive. Oh, boy, that's a good one.
I'll tell you mine while you think if you need a second.
Okay, yeah, give me a second. Who do you got?
Robin Tooney, if you know who she is.
Oh, I do. Yes, that is a good one. That is a good one. I almost can picture Drew Barrymore again. I know I've already said Drew Barrymore, but I can see some similarities there. I think that would maybe be mine. So while we're at it, Emily, who would you have wanted for Laura Lee?
Oh man, that's one I didn't even consider. I don't know. I'm like drawing a blank.
I mean, we could maybe even see the Reese Witherspoon, right? I mean, maybe, or if we're looking at Alicia Silverstone again, potentially one of them. I mean, let's face it. I mean, even Cameron Diaz, like any of those would work potentially for Laura Lee or Melissa, and not just because of the blonde hair. I feel like there are some definite similarities there. So
yeah, I agree.
Thank you all for tuning in again. Please be sure to drop a comment here on Cord Cutting's YouTube or cordcutting.com so we can really kind of get an assessment of where everybody's head is at with the casting. And we'll revisit it ahead of season 3, maybe during season 3, whenever we get more casting answers. So in the meantime, be sure you have cordcutting.com/Yellowjackets-Hive bookmarked and follow Cord Cutting on YouTube so you do not miss any of our exclusive content like this. We've got a lot more coming at you soon.
Yes. So until we spill again.